All right. Hopefully, everyone is having a good start to the week. I actually ended up taking a winning trade in Asia session, which I don't normally trade Asia, but I was literally just doing my weekly analysis and I saw a beautiful setup forming on NQ, so I decided to capitalize on it. And before I get into this recap, I am not a huge advocate for trading Asia. I rarely trade Asia. In my experience, it tends to be a little bit more choppy and slow, so I tend to stay away from it. So I'm not sitting here telling you guys, hey, you should be looking at Asia session because usually I'd say stay away from it. But, anyways, getting into the recap. So, what I was looking at is, I pulled up the 1 hour and I saw that on Friday we had a textbook liquidity sweep. Price came down, swept this super obvious low, and then we started displacing to the upside. So, the first thing I wanted to see is do we have any targets higher that could act as a really high probable draw? And so I looked at the daily time frame and I noticed, and I already have it marked out, but this daily fair value gap right here really stood out to me. It was super clean. Daily fair value gaps, they tend to be very strong draws on liquidity. Rarely ever do we leave those unfilled. So I went down to the lower time frame, and on the 1 hour, I saw we were also holding this super clean bullish 1 hour fair value gap. So now I have a strong draw on the daily time frame. We had a clear sweep of the lows on Friday, and we're holding this 1 hour gap going into Asia. So now I'm like, okay, is there any internal liquidity that I could possibly target? Because price action seems to be moving pretty efficiently. So I go down to the 15-minute time frame, and I see we have this high right here, which is the daily fair value gap. That's the external draw. But we also have this internal draw right here. So I'm thinking to myself, if I take a trade, my main target would be this high, but I'm not opposed to either taking some off or putting stop at break even once we hit this internal low. So I zoom down into the 5 minute time frame to see if there's anywhere where I can catch a safe entry, because that's the whole point of my strategy is targeting a strong draw on liquidity, but having an entry to where I don't expect to get retraced on. So I go to the 5 minute and I see at the time we are coming down into this 5 minute fair value gap. And really, all that I was thinking was if we come down into this gap and start displacing out of it, I am at least confident that we want to go to this internal high. Now, if we want to just blow through this 5 minute, then I expect some, what normally happens in Asia. I expect us to come down here, chop around, maybe range, do just kind of whatever. Now, price comes down into this fair value gap, so I go down to the 1 minute time frame, and I go down to the 1 minute, and all I'm looking for is strong, solid candle closes out of the fair value gap. I don't want to see big wicks. I want to see big, solid candles. So we get this candle right here, which was beautiful, this solid 1 minute close. And at this point, I was pretty convinced we were going to hold that gap and go to this internal high, but I wasn't 100%, so I wanted to wait for a little bit more. Now, price shot up about another 10 points, and at this point, I was confident. I was like, okay, we have good volume. We're obviously going towards this internal high up here. Like, I'm going to slap an entry. So I slapped on my full size. I mean, not full size that I would trade in New York, but I think it was five micro, something like that. And I put my stop near this low. And then the whole thought process was, like I said, if we chop around this internal high, then I'm just going to set my stop somewhere comfortably in profit. But if we displace through the high, then I will hold till this external high, which was that daily fair value gap. And so we came up, we tapped the internal high, and as you can see, it was just terrible after that. And I'm not going to sit and pull my hair out waiting for this trade to play out. So I'd rather watch the football game and enjoy it, which I did. So I'm happy about it. But I put my stop. We had this little 1 minute fair value gap right here that we came down and tapped. And in my opinion, if we just wanted to explode and go to the external high, we shouldn't come back down to this little low. But I put my stop here. We come back down. I get tagged out. And that was that. I'm up 676 per account. So I think that's like almost 3,400 in total, which is obviously a great start to the week. And I also just quickly, I wanted to talk about like manually exiting your position and not waiting for your full take profit. Because a lot of people, they're like against doing that because they think it's building bad habits. And to a degree, like I agree with that. But you have to understand, like the goal with trading is we want to consistently make money. So let's say we're coming up to your take profit and we're wicking it 5 or 6 times, we're edging it, we have more fair value gaps that we might want to fill before hitting your TP. Like chances are, if we're edging your TP like that, we're going to come back down, stop you at break even, and then more than likely go back up and hit your take profit, and you're going to be pissed. Like, wouldn't you rather just close it a couple points away from your take profit? I agree with manually exiting early when it actually makes logical sense. Like for the reasons I just gave. If we are edging the take profit, if we look like we might want to retrace to a fair value gap before hitting it, I am all for exiting. What is not okay is let's say during this trade after this strong solid 1 minute closure, I was just it's Asia session. I want to get a good little buffer for the week. Like, you know what? Let's just close it off. Like that, I don't agree with. That's just see green, take green, and long term, that's gonna fuck your risk reward. You don't want to do that. So you want to only exit the position when it logically makes sense to do so. But that's pretty much everything that I have to go over about this trade. I'm actually, regardless, it looks like we did go up and take that high. I am super happy with my execution and my management on this trade. I think it was fantastic because I would not have wanted to hold through, oh man, it would have been another 5, 6 hours. There's no way. So I'm very glad that I took it off where I took it off. I think exiting early once we started chopping around this internal high was a great decision. But yeah, overall, super happy with the trade. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I will answer all of them. My free Discord, the link is also in the description as it is on every video. So feel free to join my Discord. I post my bias every single morning before market open. I'm actually getting ready to do so right now. I review all of your guys' trades. It's just overall super awesome group to be a part of. But yeah, let's have a good start to the week.